Hello everyone, this is Dr. Chris Martinson here again with you, and I know that I told you that the COVID coverage is more or less over. It doesn't mean it's over. Trust me, if anything really big comes up in COVID again, I'll be talking about it. It's just that I really feel like the amount of good I can do talking about COVID incrementally, is not as much good as I can do telling you about the rest of my work in the world. So what is that all about? Well, if you've been following me for a number of months, you know who I am. I follow the data. I have an ability to tell things in a really clear way. I love changing my mind when circumstances require me to change my mind, and I don't have any competing self-interests or otherwise or conflicting interests with the rest of the world. I don't have any particular thing I'm trying to sell you. I don't have any pharma stock I want to go up or down. None of that. I sidetracked on COVID because it seemed like a really important thing to do, and I'm really proud of that work. I'm very satisfied with it, and the number of amazing responses that I got back from all of you around the impact that it made, how you were able to help yourselves, help family members get personal protective equipment in time, just to understand and know what was going on. So that was really important. Well, I'm here with another really important message, and it's the one I've been telling for, I say 12 years, it's probably 13 years now. And it's a story about where we really are going as a species on this planet. And, if you open up the newspaper and you read about what's going on with melting ice or with the wildfires in California right now, or the mysterious, if persistent, loss of species that's happening all over the world. When I was a boy, and I was 50 years ago, when we would take trips in the family wood-paneled station wagon from Connecticut to upstate New York, we would drive through what's still farm country, right? There's corn rows and soybeans and cows and all that stuff, right? So we would take these trips, and it would be my job at every gas station stop. You had to stop a lot because cars didn't get a lot of miles per gallon back then, right? And my job was to get out and get the squeegee and scrub brush on the handle out of the blue water and go and scrub off all the different insects that were on the windshield, because you couldn't go between gas stations without getting so many on there that you couldn't really see where you were driving, right? That was what I grew up with. Now I can take that same trip, and I do every summer, there and back, and get 0 bugs on the windshield. When you take out the bottom of the pyramid of food, you're doing something that's not right. We have ships that go out now and harvest krill, these little tiny shrimp-like creatures, because we're out of big fish, and they take the krill out of the ocean and they grind it up and they turn it into fertilizer. We turn it into dog food, cat food. We call it ocean, food. But we're taking the bottom of the food pyramid, because that's where we are in this story. If you're an architect and you decided to figure out where all the components come from your LEED certified double extra green building with perfect insulation glass on the south side and solar panels on top, but you ask this question, is where does the sand come from for the concrete in the base of this thing you're building, you'll discover that we're running out of sand in this story. We're running out of sand. I know you're thinking, Chris, the deserts are full of sand, but it's not the right kind of sand. See, the desert sand is wind polished and tumbled, so if you looked at it microscopically, they'd be little round balls, and it turns out when you take little round ball bearings and marbles and you try and make concrete out of them, it just falls apart. So we actually need beach sand, sharp sand that was made recently by erosive processes, and so we find that in places where rivers carved through mountains and came out into the ocean. That is in such short supply right now that there are beach bandits who show up in the middle of the night around the world with sucker pumps and pull that sand and go and sell it. At any one of these stories, missing insects or the fact that we're out of sand, should make us go, hold on, what's going on here? And that's the larger story I've been wanting to talk about, is that we live in a world of limits, we live on a finite planet, and we have an economic system that is operating as if we live in an infinite planet. And because it thinks that, or wants to believe that, it's trying to grow exponentially, infinitely, forever. So remember we talked about exponential growth, and to get exponential growth, all you have to have is something growing by some percentage over a unit of time. Could be 1% a year. It could be 3% a minute. It doesn't matter. Well, that's what our economy is, right? You've heard about our economy, and they say, hey, we want GDP to be 3% this year. Well, that's 3% on top of last year. So whatever last year was, we want 3% more of it. And then next year, we want all of that plus 3% of that, and so on and so on. And that exponential growth means that everything's doubling. and it gets away from us really quickly. And so we have, just like the Mayans, just like the Aztecs, just like every empire that's come before, just like every civilization that's existed, we have a story. And it's no better or worse than any other story, but our story is just as flawed as anybody else's. As long as we're thinking that it's about a story of extraction so that we can extract and take from the world, take the sand, take the nutrients from the soil, so we can keep our economy going a little longer. But that story runs out. That story literally ends in ruin. There's another story too, though, where we use these same big brains, we use our big hearts, and we build towards a regenerative future. I've walked on soil, living soil that was formerly dirt, where people, with their hearts, their minds, their muscle, brought it back to this full living thing. So we can use our brains to create regenerative outcomes. We can make topsoil grow 100 times faster than nature can. We can find ways to plant the things that rare species need so they can become part of that true diversity that we all need. You've heard a lot about diversity lately, people talking about how we need diversity. It's good, but it's too shallow for me because they only talk about how we need human diversity. It's not true. We need full diversity of life. And that's what I'm devoted to. I'm committed to actual full diversity. We need all the insects here, including the little biting ones that annoy us, because I know some of you thought, it's cool, no insects, I don't like them, right? Cockroaches, ticks, and mosquitoes. That's what you're thinking of. But as well, we have praying mantises and ladybugs and walking sticks and giant moths and things that we don't even know what they're doing, and wasps who are in parasitic relationships with caterpillars. We need all of that. What's false is that we can continue as we have been forever. What's false is to believe that somehow our progress that we've achieved up to this point is some sort of divine right that can never be taken back from us. Of course it can. Roman technology left Europe, and Europe went into what's called the Dark Ages because it took them about 400 or 500 years to figure out how to get back to that amazing level of progress that the Romans brought with them and then which left with them as well. We have this incredible amount of progress we face that we experience right now, and I love it. You know what I love? I love having Novocaine when I'm getting teeth pulled. I love having antibiotics that can help me avoid having a simple cut turn into a death sentence. I love being able to tune into the world and talk to you right now wherever you are because I've got this technology that's sitting between me and you right now, goes across some magic wires and ends up right where you're sitting watching me right now. I love that. I want to keep that. We have the ability right now to reach into our pockets, pull out a smartphone, and take any college course from the best university in the world for free. We have access to that. I want to keep that. We keep that if we get the story right and we understand that it's time to preserve what we've got, not think that we can preserve what we used to have, but in terms of growth, but preserve what we actually have. So I'm a conservationist, Art. I'd like to conserve insects and I'd like to conserve the internet. I'd like all of that to be true, right? But it can be true. And the true tale is over here with all the people who are figuring out how to act regeneratively. They're regenerating relationships in their communities with each other. They're regenerating the soil in their plots of land, however big those happen to be. They're learning about their food and why it's important to eat food that's full of actual nutrients. So regeneration is about observing. It's about understanding the relationships between things. It's about understanding we have a role to play in that as humans. We can either be unconscious or conscious around that. Hey, they found the water. Well, good. So if you come with me to my property, you would see I'm learning.
There you go now.
Making a lot of mistakes, but I'm learning about how to become a director in a very complicated orchestra where all the pieces come together.
They're amazing tillers with their nose, but they actually have their own bathroom. They have this little hut here that they sleep in. They never pee or poop in there.
And if I'm smart about it, I end up figuring out how to have those pieces do what they already do in service of the larger whole. Hey, so thank you so much for listening up to here, and I really hope you continue to listen. If you liked this, hit the like button. If you know somebody to send this to, send it to them. But what we're going to be diving into is resilience and regeneration and solution space, because the problem definition, hey, watch the crash course if you want, it's there. Watch The Hidden Secrets of Money, read The Creature from Jekyll Island, watch Rules for Rulers if you find that on YouTube. It'll explain what's happening. That's great. Once you get there, you're going to ask the very most obvious next question, which is, oh, what do I do? I want you to ask it this way, though. What do we do? So together, we're going to figure out how to live a more resilient, happy, healthy, abundant future. And we do that by letting go of the old story and experimenting and making mistakes, trying stuff and getting our hands dirty, doing all that wonderful stuff. And that's what has to happen if we want to be happy, healthy, resilient, and live in a good community. So with that, thank you so much for listening. Adam Taggart's going to tell you a little bit more now. Take it away, Adam.
Hi folks, Adam Taggart here, Chris's fellow co-founder of peakprosperity.com. I'm here to tell you that this year, due to COVID, we're bringing our annual seminar digital for the first time ever. And the theme is going to be, how do we prosper in a post-coronavirus era? We're going to be tackling questions like, how can we protect our loved ones and our wealth? And is there a way to prosper through the coming disruption that COVID's unleashing? You know, because of this crazy time, Chris and I wanted to do something truly special for our followers, which is why we're bringing together more expert speakers for this seminar than we ever have before, and we're making it all available to you at a truly rock-bottom price. We're going to have an amazing lineup of talent this year. We're going to have economic experts like Mike Maloney, former Fed advisor Danielle DiMartino Booth, technical analyst Sven Henrik, macro experts like Wolf Richter, John Rubino, Charles Hugh Smith. We're going to have energy experts like Richard Heinberg and Art Berman. We're going to have farming and environmental experts like Joel Salatin, America's Farmer, the folks at Singing Frog Farms, and many other experts in building resilience across your money, your health, your home, and your community. Now, the conference is going to take place the weekend of October 24th and 25th. It's going to be 2 days of packed presentations, panels, and live Q&A. But don't worry if you can't attend live or watch the entire live event. Everybody who registers is going to receive replay videos of all of the presentations, plus hours of additional bonus presentations that we just simply can't squeeze into a 2-day event, and trust me, we've tried. If you register now before September 30th, you're going to get all of this for the extremely low early bird price of $179. And if you happen to be a premium Peak Prosperity subscriber, you're going to get an additional 15% discount savings on top of that. To learn more, go visit peakprosperity.com/seminar2020. Chris and I hope to see you there in October.